Crypto flying as gold crashes. Vodacom and MTN, neither are looking attractive. ZAR above 18. Raubex, excellent results. AVI and Bidcorp, both caution. Consumer still struggling. This is JC Direct, episode 610 for 14 November, recorded lunchtime 13th. My name is Simon Brown. This podcast is brought to you by justonelap.com. So let's start off. We spoke last week about Trump trades, and we said it's going to be tough because we don't know quite what he's going to do, but we're seeing some, I suppose, what the market is thinking he's going to do. And the first is gold. And gold is an interesting one. Let's pull up the chart there. So gold peaked at 2,789.96. Futures price got above 2,800. And since then, it has been coming weaker. If we zoom in a little, that's an interesting little flag there, which certainly could portend a top for now. I think gold could get back to 2,400, maybe even 2,300. What's the story with gold? Well, everyone's rushing into crypto. Everyone's rushing into US dollar. Gold suddenly loses its allure. Interesting thing, we've been seeing the GOD ETF in South Africa has been issuing new units left, right, and center. The GOD in America, not so much. And in fact, they are well down in terms of market cap or number of units in issue, which peaked in around late 2020. Was rising, but it's been dropping again the last few days. All the money's going somewhere else, and gold is nice and liquid. But here's my argument, that the long-term bull case for gold remains intact. Firstly, one of the reasons is central banks are buying. And they're buying because they want to diversify away from US dollar and US treasury bills. They're worried about the weaponization of the US dollar, which what happened to Russia when they invaded Ukraine. Absolutely, they suddenly couldn't access their dollars. They were cut off from the SWIFT network, etc., etc. Truthfully, the central bank buying had started before that. Central bankers have some sensitivity to price, not so much as you and I, but at 2,800, they're like, come on, man, it's been a straight line up. This thing can come back down. Give us some respite. So that to me is the key case, along with inflation. We spoke last week. If Trump is going to do his tariffs, I note he's been very quiet on tariffs, but if he is going to do his tariffs, they are inflationary. I'm recording this a little bit ahead of the US inflation data. October expected 2.6, previous was 2.4. So inflation, certainly if Trump does tariffs, is coming back, and even then it's not quite yet dead. The weaponization will only intensify under Trump, and of course it is a safe haven. So I think that gold is still a nice medium to long-term place to put money. At this point, I do think we're going to see more weakness. I think we could lose another even maybe $300 from the current price. That wouldn't stress me. And at the round sort of 2,300 to 2,400, I am a buyer. Make no mistake about that. But let's go to the other trade that's been doing really, really well, which is, cryptos generally. But I'm going to focus on Bitcoin. That's the one that everyone particularly matters about. And here again, we've got a Trump story to a fair degree. Here is Bitcoin in dollars in weekly chart. Let's get ourselves some 5-year view, and let's take that. So we have cleared those highs in the last 2 weeks since in the lead up to the election, and then this week the post-election in the US, and traded as high as, according to my screen, 90,243. I hold crypto, I hold Bitcoin, let's put it that way. Remember, if it's not on your wallet, if it's not on a hardware wallet, not your crypto until it's in a hardware wallet. So what's the story for crypto? Well, the theory is that Trump is going to be friendly to crypto, and that the Democratic Party and the SEC were not friendly to crypto. A lot of crypto bros have funded Trump. He's launched his own little altcoin. By accounts, it's not doing very much, although it should be doing a lot more now that he's president-elect. So, I mean, is the US government going to be more friendly? Could he, and he said that he would, tell the Treasury to buy some Bitcoin? Instead of just holding dollars and the like, go buy some Bitcoin. suppose they absolutely could. The US government holds Bitcoin. Mostly it's the Fed, and mostly that's what's been confiscated from criminals in Silk Road and the like, and they're waiting for permission to sell it. But the big deal is the SEC. Current chair of the SEC, Gary Gensler. He is the chair there. And the thinking is that he has had aggressive enforcement actions against major cryptocurrency exchanges, such as Binance, such as Coinbase. And I think you could say that those statements are both true, although let's also be clear, FTX collapsed under his stewardship in a sense. Stewardship, I put in inverted commas. The crypto bros hate that he insists on applying traditional financial regulations on cryptocurrencies. They say this stifles innovation. They probably partly true. I mean, it also, frankly, keeps away all the B-grade Doge coins, altcoins. I'm not going to swear on this podcast because we have a clean rating for 610 shows, but you know what I'm talking about. Those really, really Doge little coins. So, SEC chairman is perhaps the problem. The US government can go buy some crypto. Trump can get involved. He can put his face on some coins and maybe put them on a red hat or whatever the case may be. But can he fire the SEC chair? Now, I suppose he could try to. I mean, interestingly, Jerome Powell, US cut rates last week, and will you step down as Trump new president? No. Can Trump fire you? And his response was, no, he can't. So Gensler's current term runs until June 5, 2026. Trump comes in January 20 or 21 next year. So there's still another little under a year and a half between when Trump gets into power and when he would need to appoint a new SEC chair, Securities Exchange Commission chair, if he can't fire him. And that is certainly seen as friendly to crypto. At this point in time, if we go back quickly to the crypto price there, it has run hard. We're probably going to get a bit of a pullback to where? I have no idea. I think in the short term, we're not going to see $70,000. And I think we're probably going to see 100 before 70. If you are holding crypto, as I do, and you hold it because this is a weird asset and it's making me money, so let's hold it. Am I selling at this point? No, I'm not. I am holding on to my crypto. This stuff has no intrinsic value, and I know all you crypto bros are going to send me hate, knock yourself out. It has no real-world use, and I'm talking Bitcoin here. I mean, some of them, Solana and others, are different. But, I was talking around the Shift app recently, and someone was chirped oh, just use Bitcoin. Well, no, because with Shift, I can pay immediately and etc. Whereas with Bitcoin, it takes ages and is expensive on gas fees and all the rest. But this is perhaps going to be one of the trades in a Trump presidency is going to be crypto, particularly if he puts a very friendly chair of the SEC. So we have events coming up. We've got two of them. One is next week with Keith McLachlan on 21 November, Standard Bank Power Hour. After a good run, any value left in SA Inc. What we've seen is SA Inc. coming back a bit, rand a bit weaker. But Keith's going to focus on two particular things. Two-pot money. Now, I can't find an updated figure, but last figure was 20-odd billion in early October. That's probably double or triple by now. How to profit off it. Now, everyone's gone rushing into the retailers. Fair enough. Keith has a way smarter idea. We're also seeing changes in visas and visa regulations in South Africa. How do we profit off that? That is 21 November. And then 5 December is our year-end Power Hour. Position your portfolio for 2025. I do this every year. I've done it for about 8 years now. I will first review my predictions from a year ago. Then I'll look forward to what I'm expecting in 2025. I will name some stocks, some sectors, some commodities. I put my head on the block. That is 5 December. Both of them, 5:30 in the evening, webcast, or come along to Standard Bank in Rosebank, Johannesburg. We'll see you there. The in-person events are always fun. And then we're done. We'll be back. ETFs, tax-free in February of next year. JustOneLap.com/events. More information and booking. So we have seen rand weakness after almost 1702 earlier in the year. The rand has totally turned on its tail and is now trading above 18, and it is dollar strength. That really is what is pushing the rand higher. We are seeing massive dollar strength come through on the back of the Trump trade. There's the dollar index. It's at 106.19, which is pretty much where it was in mid-year back in April, and then sort of a year ago, October of last year, and then all the way back to late 2022. We've seen the strength because money's flowing in. Why is the money flowing in? Well, markets are expecting some volatility. We have seen a bit. You want to get a safe haven. We've seen the US 10-year Treasury notes heading higher. The question is what's happening in that regard. And again, folks want a slice of that action. The rand is weaker than other emerging market currencies against the US dollar. That's because of our liquidity. We always overshoot in either direction just because we're that much easier to buy and sell. We are in a crunch point. I mean, the question is quite simple. Do we continue? Do we get to 107 and in time 108? If this resistance holds, we can expect some strength in the rand, and maybe we can expect this index back to around about 100, which on the last time it was there had the rand at around about 17. I'm not stressing the rand. That will look after itself all well and good. We had Vodacom results out. Lots of asterisks saying, currencies. Two currencies were hurting them, the Egyptian pound and the Ethiopian birr, BIRR. They both lost some 2/3 of their value in the last 5 years against the ZAR, and they've got operations there. Egypt's quite a new market for them, and, they just get less money. We've seen this with MTN in Nigeria, with the Naira, the Ugandan shilling, the Ghanaian cedi. They've all weakened against the ZAR. Not just little bits, big weakens, and against the US dollar, but of course these are ZAR reporting companies. There's a problem. Are any of these currencies, the birr, the pound, the naira, the shilling, the cedi, are they going back to levels seen a year or two ago against our currency? The answer is no, which means they've now reset that profitability to a lower base. Sure, Egypt did great, but the profits when they come home are less attractive because of the impact of currency. And that's not going to return. They've also got huge capex spend, which they farm off to third parties to do. Great, but it's still got to be spent by somebody. If not directly, they pay indirectly. MTN, Vodacom, don't particularly like either of them, don't hold either of them, don't wish to hold either of them. Let's pull up some charts here. You will find lots of folks who are big fans. I certainly am not of them. So let's look at a 5-year weekly chart. There is nothing attractive about that chart. And I'm looking for analysts' expectations, price targets. Analysts, we've got some sells, some holds, a lot of buys. Median price targets 103, low is 73. I would be a sell on MTN. Vodacom, I expect to see pretty much the same. Hold on, I wanted to quickly peek at dividends. So dividend yield for MTN is just under 4%. Nice, but I'm not sure it pays you. So weirdly, of course, Vodacom used to be the bigger dividend payer. It still is, 5.6% dividend there. Analyst price targets for Vodacom. Interestingly, 7 holds, 3 buys, 1 strong buy, no sells or strong sells. Average is 115, low is 95, stock is 105. I think it got down to 100 on results. And here's the Vodacom chart. And what about that? It's had a nice run. I don't like the telco sector. They are utilities, but with massive pressure on capex spend, and they're trying to, fintech. Everyone's doing fintech these days. Everybody's doing fintech, including the banks and the fintech peeps. So I am not attracted by either of those. However, flip side of the coin was Raubex. These were really, really strong results, proper strong results coming through. Let's pull up the data there. So we don't have a lot for Raubex. Dividend yield 3.3. Stock's been under a bit of pressure. Forward PE is 8.1. Why am I seeing nothing there? Let's look at that one. There we go. Price to book is 1.4. The mean is 1.1. which is just shows you how much market is not excited by these sort of stocks at all. Shares outstanding, been flat for a while. What are the analysts looking for? Price targets. We only have one buy and their price target is 60. I can certainly subscribe to that. Let's go have a look at the chart. Let's look at a 5-year weekly. We got some weakness. We could see some more, although it's pulled back nicely post the results, which was Monday. Raubex used to make roads. That's all they did. They still do. They get a lot of sand rail contracts. They're also mining. They've got some chrome mines. They also do mining for third parties. They're also doing down in the Eastern Cape. Where is it? It is in somewhere in the Eastern Cape, and then in Jeffreys Bay, they're putting up renewable energy, wind turbines. They're doing similar in Western Australia. They are an incredibly well-run little business. There's not much in the construction space left in South Africa. Raubex is certainly one of them. And if you're looking for some exposure, it's pretty much that and or Afrimat. Those are the two. And then two comments that came through. We had both AVI and Bidcorp. These were sort of 4-month updates. One was a capital markets, one was an AGM update. Bidcorp, while food inflation has all but disappeared, labor costs remain a headache, along with weak consumer demand. That's the important point. AVI, domestic macro environment has remained challenging despite the optimism created by the government of national unity. We are still struggling out there. And when I say we, not just South Africans, Bidcorp, of course, is a global business. Their South African operations are small relative to the entire business. It is still very tough out there. Yes, interest rates are coming down, and yes, inflation has come down, but people are repairing balance sheets. We saw the Truworths update from last week, which was really not attractive at all, although the Fashini Group had really good numbers. So the sense is we're not yet seeing the booming consumer. No, we're not. And that doesn't surprise us, but AVI and Bidcorp make that very clear. The stocks have run, and they've run in anticipation because stocks look forward, so no real surprises around that. But it remains tough out there. It absolutely remains tough out there. Quick last point, Tencent results came out Wednesday morning, and they were strong. Very strong. I haven't gone deep into them. I'm not sure if Naspers is moving on the back of it or perhaps a process. PRX. No, process is actually a little bit weaker and Naspers a little bit greener. Not much excitement happening there, but really, really good results out of Tencent. I'm going to leave it there. Remember, events, justonelap.com/events. Keith McLachlan next week and myself 2 weeks thereafter. Both going to be great, and the year-end one is always fun. We usually get loads of peeps coming through, so that's certainly worth coming and having a look. I need to do a disclaimer. JSE is a registered trademark of the JSE Limited. JSE Direct is an independent broadcast and is not endorsed or affiliated with, nor has it been authorized or otherwise approved by JSE Limited. The views expressed in this program are solely those of the presenter and do not necessarily reflect the views of JSE Limited. And as always, are not financial advice. Of course, that goes without saying. We'll leave it there. My name is Simon. We'll chat again next week. Remember, as always, if you can, look after yourself. And if you absolutely can, look after somebody else as well. Came out a bit wrong, but you know what I mean there. Look after peeps. You know what? Rule number 1, be kind. Always just be kind. Cheers all.